This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
What's up, nerds? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into A Graphic Conversation. Really, A Graphic Conversation 2.0. Get into that in a little bit, but if you're new, you've never been like, hey, what is A Graphic Conversation? It's a podcast we used to do here at MVP a long time ago. I think the last time we did an episode of A Graphic Conversation was 2019, July 5th, 2019 was the last time we posted A Graphic Conversation. It was actually on our MVP Sports channel before we made the split to two separate channels and moved all the gaming, entertainment, comic stuff over to here. But yeah, it's a series, I'll be honest, that I've been thinking about bringing back for quite a while. This episode, by the way, is going to be longer than usual just because of this part here. I wanted to explain to you guys what's going on. What is A Graphic Conversation? What can you be expected to hear in A Graphic Conversation? So Graphic Conversation, if you're new, it's a comic book series. We read comics, we review, talk about them. I then give you my rating at the end. Right now, it's just me. Way back when, it used to not just be me. It was me and Mark. But I'll be honest, I was talking to a coworker at work, Chris. Hi, Chris. I've mentioned him before, but I'm mentioning him again. I've thought about bringing back A Graphic Conversation, but then I've been talking to Chris, and this was like months ago. This was several months ago. This was like in 2025, where Chris is a big comic book guy, and he's the kind of guy where it's like every single Wednesday when I come into work, Chris is a guy where it's like, Ricky, come and see me at some point. I got the pull list for you. And I check out his pull list every week because that's the one difference between Chris and I. Chris is a weekly issue guy. He's getting the issues every single Wednesday. I'm a trade paper guy. I like the volumes, collect the first 6 issues, read it like that. I like reading complete stories instead of just the single issues. It's just where we're different. But I'm still checking out his pull list each and every week and talking to him about comics. I'm like, you know what? I've had this idea to bring back this podcast. Why not do it? And I did a bunch of planning. I wanted to bring this back earlier in the year. I think I planned to bring it back around May, like the beginning of May, but it got sidetracked and here we are. First one, plain and simple. Like I said, last episode, I should say last time I said, because I've recorded this a couple times, so it could have been another recording. So I'm just going to say it now. The last time we posted A Graphic Conversation on MVP was 2019. So it's been quite a bit. Also, it used to be 2 of us. It was me and Mark. Mark, how you doing? Hope the family's doing well. But this one's not. This one's just me. So that's kind of the little intro of what this is. What is A Graphic Conversation 2.0? We used to do it before. I might call it 2.0. I'm probably just going to call it A Graphic Conversation and keep the lineage alive because history is important. Like, it's where we came from. It's the journey of this whole thing. So very simple. I'm going to be bringing a comic to you guys. Hopefully we're reading them together. If you want the full schedule for A Graphic Conversation, I'm just going to say, look in the description, our Patreon page. I'm going to make a post that is just, out to everyone. You're going to be able to see the full list of, because I've got the entire year planned out. I plan on doing this the entire year, twice a month, coming to you guys, talking comics with you guys. Is it going to get anywhere different than that? Could there be more in the future? Yes, but I wanted to start small. I felt like 2 a month was good. Every 2 weeks, new issue, new comic that we're reading and talking about. And before I get into what we're going to talk about today, let me give you guys a little bit of housekeeping at the front. If you want to join the MVP Discord, Grace Community Universe, down below in the description. Also the Patreon page. That's important for this because right now, if you like this show right now, you can check out the next episode. How I have this planned is every single time an episode of a graphic conversation is posted, all you have to do is sign up for the Patreon. Support us on Patreon. Boom, you can get the next episode as well, the one that I'll be doing in 2 weeks. So you can get 2 graphic conversations each week. You can, support us on Patreon, get them 2 weeks early. Or, you know what, if you don't want to support us on Patreon, you can check out the channel here, liking and subscribing. That's also down below. That also helps as well. And also commenting. Leave me a comment down below. Last thing before we get into it, my voice, you're going to be like, Ricky, why is your voice all raspy? A couple days ago, I was watching NRL games and Con Pereira scored a try. And I'm just going to be honest, I screamed very loudly and I think I made my voice go hoarse. So that's where it's at now. It was way worse then. But that's where it's like, if you feel a little like, as my voice gets like, I'm trying to push more, that's why. I was just screaming loud during an NRL match because I was excited that my bet hit. Nothing bad, just in case you guys were wondering. But in this episode of A Graphic Conversation, we're going to be looking at The Amazing Spider-Man Brand New Day, the Complete Collection, Volume 1. So before we get into everything, the writers on this, each episode, I'm going to list out the writers and artists, give them credit for what they do, give you guys a little bit of a synopsis. I will give a recommendation. Who is this for? Who should read it for sure? We'll talk non-spoiler and then we'll dive into a little spoiler action here on the podcast. So Spider-Man Brand New Day, the Complete Collection, Volume 1. The writers on this, Bob Gale, known for Spider-Man, Back to the Future. You got Dan Slott, Spider-Man, Superman, wrote Fantastic Four. You got Mark Guggenheim, Spider-Man, X-Men, Arrow, some of the things he's written for. And then Zeb Wells, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Carnage USA, and Deadpool. The artists on this one, you mainly have Marcos Martin, who's done Spider-Man, Green Arrow, The Private Eye, and Salvador LaRocca, who's done Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Star Wars. What is the synopsis of Brand New Day? It says, beginning a complete collection of one of the most celebrated eras in Spider history. His world was turned upside down by the events of one more day. Peter Parker puts the past behind him and sets forth on a brand new day. It's a status quo swing shift like no other, with new friends, new foes, and some familiar faces. And Peter's life has never been crazier. If major changes at the Daily Bugle, but blizzard conditions and the live streaming foe Screwball weren't bad enough, the rampage of the Furious Freak will have Spidey calling his Avengers teammates and an all new adventurer. Face it, Tiger, you just met Jackpot. Plus, it's Web Slinger versus Web Crawler when the other Spider-Man invades the neighborhood. So, kind of little synopsis. That's what the comic says on the back of it. Also, I'm going to have physical media with me. There's a couple of them this year that we're going to be reading, like Brand New Day, that, the hard copy was like $100, but the Kindle version was only 20. So, I got the Kindle version instead of that. So that's why I'm not actually showing you the physical comic book. Many of the ones that I have, they're right behind me on the shelf too. So like, I'm usually a physical guy, but this one I didn't want to spend $100 for. So that's why we went Kindle with that one. But what's the recommendation for this one? Who should read Spider-Man Brand New Day? And I'm going to be honest with you. Really, it's if you're a diehard of Spider-Man, if you're a huge fan of Spider-Man, meaning if you've never read a Spider-Man comic that you've been like, that's bad or that's horrible, go ahead and read this. If anything Spider-Man speaks to you, then you should read this, because I'm going to get into it. I do have some problems with this one. I mean, they're not problems of like, this is terrible, but really, if you're so on Spider-Man, I'd skip this one. Also, decided to put this out there while we're reading Brand New Day is, first off, we got Brand New Day coming out in what you're seeing this on the 22nd. I'm posting it. We got Brand New Day in a week and a half, the movie coming out. So I'm like, let's kind of tie that in. Number two, it kind of seemed fitting, The last episode we did back in 2019 was Spider-Man The Sinister Six. It's only fitting we start off with Spider-Man on the new era, pushing forward, pardon me. But let's start non-spoilery. What's going on here? So what is Brand New Day? What is it? Because if you've seen the movie trailers that are out right now, Brand New Day, there's a little bit of a connection, but it's not a one for one. Like, obviously the movies are different than the comics. So Spider-Man Brand New Day was a reboot to the Spider comic series in 2008. And I'm going to be honest, there's some of this reading it. I'm like, wow, I was in high school. I was senior. Like, so this came out. Wait, they started this arc, I believe, in like June, July of 2008. So I would have been just graduating high school here. And I'm going to be honest, it reads like it's written when I was in high school, meaning the references, like the type of technology that's going on. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm familiar with it because I was a young adult then. I grew up with this. But if you're somebody that is younger than I, that was maybe in like, I don't know, elementary school in 2008 or not even born in 2008, it might feel a little ancient to you. But it was a reboot to the comics in 2008 after, like the synopsis said, the One More Day story arc. And the One More Day story arc was the one where it ended with the Peter Parker Mary Jane marriage. That no longer exists. So basically it was Peter Parker, him and Mary Jane made a deal with Mephisto to kind of erase everything that has happened. So Peter and Mary Peter and Mary Jane aren't married anymore. Harry Osborn is alive again. Aunt May is alive again. And people no longer recall, because one of the big things in this is the Civil War arc that happened before it. Spider-Man actually demasked. Like, it was the whole like superhero registry. Peter Parker demasked as Spider-Man. And that was kind of like the like, oh, fuck, holy shit kind of moment of that kind of series. It's like, holy shit, people know Spider-Man's identity. They don't know Spider-Man's identity anymore because Mephisto wiped it all. So like all that is gone. To be honest, there was, and yet again, I'm recounting this because I wasn't reading this back in 2008. I wasn't yet again, I've never been like, hey, let's go get the pull list every Wednesday. I'm going to the comic shop. I've always been like, oh, here's a graphic novel. Here's the collected ones. This is all stuff that's been pre-written. It's already been out. So I wasn't reading this in 2008 when it was live. Apparently there's a controversy around this. And when I say controversy, I'm talking about like people didn't like this. And I could totally see why in the moment, because the biggest criticism that I've seen about this is that it totally wipes away everything that was already built up. It's like, oh, things have happened. We've got hit with these hard moments. Like how shocked, like imagining Aunt May dying. Like, let's be honest. I'm just going to compare it to the movie really quick. When I saw, what was it? Spider-Man No Way Home and Aunt May died. That kind of was like a sword in the stomach. You felt it in your gut. And I can only imagine reading on the pages like, oh no, Aunt May is dead. Harry Osborn dying. That is a big thing for not only readers, but like the Spider-Man character himself, like dealing with that. My best friend is dead. My Aunt May is dead. My motherly figure, basically, because his parents aren't alive. So the motherly figure, he already lost the fatherly figure in Uncle Ben. So it's like those big moments gone. Also the big triumphs. We finally see Mary Jane and Peter together married. Nope. Poof. Nothing. Never happened. So it's like, I get the frustration that many people had at the time of like, wow, so what I just invested in the last X amount of years, because let's be honest, comic book runs, they don't go for like just 20 issues and then, oh, that's it. They go for like hundreds of issues. So, I mean, the investment from the reader, it was like, oh, well, you know what? Screw you then. You don't care about my investment. Why should I care about this? So like there was that, poof, everything's gone. The deal with Mephisto I also saw. And again, after I thought about it, I didn't think about this up front, but after I saw people, like, 'cause obviously we have had years of people now online giving their thoughts about this. The deal with Mephisto doesn't really make sense because, like, Peter's a guy where, let's just take Spider-Man's famous saying, with great power comes great responsibility. That doesn't seem like a line where it's like, let me get out of my problems, snap of a finger. Oh, you have a quick and easy way to get out of my problems? Sure, I'm going to do that. It doesn't feel like something Peter or Spidey or both would do. Mary Jane, maybe, but probably not, but maybe, because like she's not the with great power comes great responsibility character, but like Peter for sure. It's like, why would he make a deal with Mephisto like that? It would be a no, I got to deal with this because the responsibility of my actions. So like I saw that online. I'm like, you know what? You got kind of a point there. You got kind of a point. And then the last thing is, and this is another one where now I didn't read the issues coming into this. How this worked was, I think it's like issue 450. Let me go ahead and check really quick. So the first issue on this is, I think, like 546, 545, and it runs for 19 issues. So like we're running here from 546 all the way until like 6 something. Is it 6 something? Yeah, it's 6 something. The last issue that we have is, let me see. I'm just going to pop through these covers. Oh no. See, this is why I wish I had the actual media with me, guys. Let me click through this really quick. I'm looking at the last issue. Yeah, the last one was 564. Cool. So 640 was way too far. So this is like 545 to 564, 19 issues to be exact. And it has many different writers. Like I like looking at, you got Gale, Stotts, Guggenheim, and Wells. That's 4 different writers. And then you got 2 different artists in Martin and LaRocca, where the One More Day storyline then only had 1 writer, J. Michael, and I'm going to screw up his last name. I'm sorry, J. Michael. J. Michael Straczynski, Spider-Man writer from 2001 until 2007. So you had 6 years of him. And it's pretty much him, and I can't remember. I didn't write down in my notes the artist, but it's pretty much him and his artist. The same writer, same artist the whole way through. Especially like, I think it was like the last like 15 issues, at least 12 or 15 issues heading into this, where it was like him and 1 artist heading in. And like, the thing that I will say about that is, reading this, I didn't like the multiple writers. I know I've seen other people that's like, oh, well, you know, having multiple writers gives a difference of opinion. You can do new things. And like someone might have one idea and then someone else runs away with it. That didn't really happen here. It felt to me like too many cooks in the kitchen. Without getting spoilery, it felt like there were too many cooks in the kitchen. You'd have someone start something and it's like, oh, cool, I like this. We're going to dive into that, right? Right? It's like the, what is it? The Padme meme of like, that was a good storyline. I can't wait to explore that in the other one. Right? Right. And it was like, sometimes it'd be like, oh, here's 3 issues of something I really like. And then poof, we're on to something quick and random. Some things just never get resolved in these 19 issues. And yet again, that's going to be a greater point that I look into the spoiler section. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm done with the non-spoiler section. This is, if you're new to a graphic conversation, this was pretty frequent for us in this one. It's like, are we done with non-spoiler? Is there anything else I want to say? Wasn't a fan of the different writers for the 19 issues. That's for sure. I'm just checking my notes to see if I missed anything. Oh, the other, like I mainly mentioned the writing part of it. Also the art part of it, like having the different artists, like there was like one where it was like, oh, you're like 3 issues of one artist. You're getting used to one art style. And then boom, here's a different style where you're like, your eyes kind of like, you look back of like, what the fuck? Like, why is it so different? And it wasn't like the art wasn't bad. It was just, you get used to something for 3 or 4 issues and then it changes. Your eyes go, what? I was used to this. Why is this happening? Is it just because, hey, we want to put a new writer on this? Now I've I've read things where it's like they changed the art style halfway through because, oh, this issue, it's something different. There's a different like perspective. It's from someone else's point of view. So it's like you can use the art as like hey, you know what? We're telling a different story from a different angle. It wasn't like that here. It just felt like, yeah, you know what? We just wanted to get a different artist onto it. So, go ahead and boom, there you go. There is a new artist. So the art styles were jarring on top of the writing of like things never got finished. They never got resolved kind of a situation. But I think I am going to stop spoiler section there. So as we used to say back in the past, if you haven't read Spider-Man Brand New Day yet, you can pause the podcast right here. I will always be waiting here with the spoiler section. You can come back. So yet again, if you haven't read yet, you're like, you know what? I was kind of seeing what the non-spoiler was like. Ricky's saying if I should read it or not, what the recommendation is. Hit the pause button. I'll be right back. I'm going to give you a few seconds to be like, oh, let me hit pause. All right. Is it just everyone who's read it or doesn't care and wants to just be in spoiler mode? So now starts the spoiler mode of the podcast. And this is one where if I'm diving it right into it, so it kind of like, there were things that I liked in this 19 issue run. The first thing I want to mention is the Brand New Day arc versus the Brand New Day era. So apparently, and I'm going to say apparently, the Brand New Day arc is these 19 issues. Yet again, the reason why I read this was I'm like, I wanted to read what was considered Brand New Day. Now, notice how the title says Volume 1. There are other volumes of this. This is like, so the complete collection, this is like a complete omnibus or considered like a complete omnibus of the Brand New Day. There's also Volume 2 and Volume 3. That collects the entire era, all 3 volumes. But this right here, Volume 1, is the Brand New Day arc. Because after this, if like you read issue 564, 565 at the top of it, like, cause all these comics at the very top, it says Brand New Day, Brand New Day, Brand New Day, Brand New Day. You get to 565 though, and it's no longer there. It says Kraven's First Hunt. So the arc ended, the era didn't. So it's like there were storylines that didn't finish in the 19 issues, but they get resolved later on. Like the entire era is 102 issues compared to only 19. Yet again, this is probably a problem because the thing I like is the graphic novels, the trade paper. So like I like the contained, like even if I have to read 2 graphic novels to get through a series, or I have to read 7 or 8 graphic novels to get through the series, at least each one, it's kind of like broken up into individual like brackets, individual
we'd like to take this time to thank the people who make these videos possible.
This is chapter
our
1,
patrons whose names are listed on the screen
chapter 3,
now.
but chapter
if
1,
you'd like
chapter
to become
2,
a
chapter
patron,
3
you can
have
click
their
the
own
Patreon
individual
logo
chapters.
in the
So,
bottom
like,
right-hand corner.
it's just
And
organized
if you'd like
more.
to check out
Where
another
this
video
one,
from
like,
MVP Sports,
there were so many
you
questions
can click on the video in
that I
the upper
had.
left.
So like, for example, we had about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We had about 8 story arcs in these 19 issues. What the arcs were, we had the Mr. Negative story. We had Jackpot story. We had Menace. He was kind of intertwined with Jackpot a little bit. We had the Mayan arc, which was completely out of left field. We had the Freak arc. We had Paper Doll. We had the Spider Tracer murder. And then we had the Bookie, which I'm going to be honest. I'm going to start with the Bookie here because I don't want to end on something negative. I'm going to really try to do that through a graphic conversation, is not ending on something negative. The Bookie 3 arc, it was 3 issues. It was the last 3 issues. Completely fucking useless. Completely fucking useless. Like, this was an arc where it was like, oh shit, we have 3 more issues to do. Remember this character that we had back during the like Spider Tracer murders when we were focusing on that? Oh, let's go ahead and just do a 3 arc about him. Basically, it was what Bookie got a guy to dress up or call out Spider-Man, got Screwball to then dress up like Spider-Man so that he could rig the bets that he was putting on for the other villains in the bar with no name. And then they found out, and then Spidey's got to save him. It was just fucking useless. If that never happened, I'd be like, oh, I wouldn't miss anything. I'd be like, oh, okay. Like, I wouldn't be asking like, oh man, where's that Bookie character? I want more of him. Oh, where's more of this? This is what I need. No, what I need more of is, so let me get into each arc. So the Mr. Negative story, this is what we kind of start off with, right? Mr. Negative, this was also the first time that we have seen him in a Spider comic. So that was probably very cool. Like, oh, fuck, brand new villain right out the gate. This is a brand new day. We have a brand new villain. And I'll be honest, I like Mr. Negative as a villain. To me, my first introduction to him, I kind of knew who he was, but my first real introduction to him was the Spider-Man video game because he was a big part of that first game. And in this, they mentioned the Dragon's Breath. And it's probably like at the time reading, you're like, holy shit, Dragon's Breath? What? Like a weapon that uses the DNA of a specific person that you want to go ahead and make a weapon that can only target people with that DNA? Like making a bioweapon that as long as you have their DNA, you can kill them and not kill anybody else. Like, to me, I was like, whoa. Like, in the cool kind of like thing also. So the issue where like, because he wants to knock out the mob bosses so that he's like, I'm assuming he wanted to be the head of the family because the arc never got resolved. It was 3 issues. And it was like, I think we went back to him once, and it was only because he was looking for something else. And then he kills his 2 henchmen because, like, yet again, the arc was never resolved. I don't know what the actual plan was at the end of it. It just felt like 3 issues, and then we never touched it again, even though we did later on, but it was a useless, like the last issue. It's like, oh, cool. I need more of this. And like, when it happened, I think the cool twist of that was there was one person from the crime family didn't die because he didn't have any of the family's blood in him. He was a bastard child in the family. And like Spidey knew that. And he's like, how do you know that? Nobody knows that. How do you know that? It was the way I describe it. It was like in Game of Thrones, if they made a bioweapon to kill the Starks. No, that wouldn't work because John, besides the point, that analogy I realized wouldn't work because John technically has Stark blood in him. But you kind of get what I'm going with here. He had no blood of either. So it's like, oh, cool. He's alive. And it's like, cool. That was a way to show like, oh, well, the bioweapon will only hurt them. That's why it's like when it's going after the wife and kids, Spidey wasn't worried about saving everyone because he knew everyone was going to be okay. It was, holy shit, I got to get the women and kids out of here so they're not hurt by Mr. Negative. I wish we had more of it. That was probably, the first 3 issues are probably the best of this. Like, they were probably the best of this. I was so engulfed into the Mr. Negative storyline, but we only got like 3 good issues and then one kind of like, whatever. Oh, it's him in the Overdrive again. Whatever his name is. I forgot his name. See, that's how forgettable this guy is. Overdrive, who's like a fan of Spider-Man, who's working for Mr. Lee. It's like, I want more of Mr. Lee. They would have maybe got me more. I'd care more about Overdrive because I would have seen more of them, but I saw 2 of them, and it was only because he was doing some. I'm digressing here. I'm going down a rabbit hole. The next part is Jackpot. I'll be completely honest. This was kind of cool. And the reason why I say that is, so her arc is that she is a registered superhero, that whenever Spidey's trying to do stuff, she shows up, and she looks exactly like Mary Jane, got the big flowing red hair. Spidey even thinks she's Mary Jane, to where it's like, he eventually asks her name. She gives her the name, like, oh, Sarah without the H. I think it's Sarah Ezrat, Ezrhat is the last name. So it's like, okay, cool. Like, okay, you're not MJ. They even show later on, Paper Doll, I'll get to her. It was in that where Sarah meets Mary Jane in the elevator because, oh yeah, Mary Jane's in this. She's here. Get to her in a second, but Jackpot meets her at the airport, and it's kind of like paying a little homage because like we know this now, but Mary Jane eventually becomes Jackpot. So yes, Mary Jane eventually becomes Jackpot. She's just not Jackpot right here. But the cool thing with Jackpot is there's this whole like back and forth between her and Spidey, because she's like, well, they're after you because you're not registered. You're not registered. The Superhero Registration Act. You're kind of fighting the law, and like they're chased by, what's his name? Blue Shield or Shield something. Let me look up. It was a superhero that basically was like RoboCop is, how I saw it. And by the way, for example, the thing that would have been perfect is there was like a little issue of, and when I mean issue, I mean like comic issue. There was an issue of like where it was just Jackpot, no Spider-Man. If you want to have the art change for just that one issue, perfect. No Spider-Man. You can be like, oh, we had it a little different because, it wasn't Spider-Man that was dealing with it. It was just Jackpot. So we're kind of telling that story. But yeah, they basically Blue Shield or Shield something is the guy's name. And he even like chases after Spider-Man because it's like, hey, you're fighting the law and I got to take you in and you're kind of doing something bad. Let's see. Stand down. I'm authorized to use force. Ooh, let's see. What's this guy's name? I'm trying to find this guy's name. He's right here in front of me. Kind of looks like a Blue Shield. The Blue Shield. That's what it is. The Blue Shield, which is just like he's just a glorified cop with superpowers. But yet again, he's registered. Spidey's not. There's also how the Jackpot arc ends. So it's one of those things too. Oh, by the way, when she tells Spidey her name, Spider-Man goes to see her because of what I'm about to say. And so basically you have the mayoral race, right? And there's one of the mayoral candidates. I think it was like, let me see. I think I put the names in my notes here. Menace. Yeah, right here. So, Parfait, mayor candidate Parfait. There's something that happens where like, so Menace, first off, who's Menace? Why is he targeting the mayor races? What's his MO? Why? That's my big problem with Menace. They kind of tease of like, oh, he's using goblin tech, and it's kind of like they have a lot of smoke off the Goblin Rider because it's like it's not as refined as the Green Goblin's tech, but it's like, another like goblin looking supervillain on a goblin like glider. Like, is this just a copycat? Is the Green Goblin back? Is it Harry? Like, they insinuate all these things. We know nothing by the end of these 19 issues. We know nothing by the end of these 19 issues, which yet again, that's the biggest issue I have in this arc. I'm talking about the arc, not the era, because I know people are going to say, some people might say, but Ricky, the arc goes 102. They answer these questions. Brand New Day, the arc, the 19-issue arc. That's what I'm talking about. We get no answers within it. That's my biggest faux pas with this is era versus arc. If you're going to have the era last 102, don't put Kraven's First Hunt then and on 656. Put Brand New Day for all of the 102. Keep it the Brand New Day for that long. That is my biggest complaint. So just get that out of the way in case someone in the comments is like, well, actually, so mayoral candidate Parfait dies. And how she dies is Spider-Man is fighting Menace. Who is he? That's besides the point. I already got into that. He's fighting Menace, and he literally says along the lines, I want to get to this part exactly because this part actually hit me and hit me hard because so he's swinging, Jackpot's in the helicopter with the police. The police are doing this thing where it's they're like, oh, well, we need to arrest Spider-Man because the Spider Tracer murders. He's like, not now, guys. We gotta get this. So they're like, cool. Yeah, we gotta work with this. And the slide says, I'm going to read it here. So it's Spider-Man fighting fighting Menace. And he's saying, I'm not going to lie to you. I've been doing this a while. And fights like this, well, they're like games of chess. You can start to see patterns. You can predict what's going to happen from a single move. And while he's saying this on the panels, you have Jackpot has already, so 2 panels before he's saying this, because this isn't coming from his mouth. It's in the red boxes, he's narrating this to us. And 2 panels before this, Jackpot's run up the wall. She's jumped, and Spider-Man shouts out, Jackpot, no, I don't need, and he stops at that because she grabs Menace. And then as he's narrating this, she grabs Menace around the neck. She flings him off his glider. She and Menace fall to the ground. Spidey falls to the ground. The glider itself goes out of control and goes right at mayoral candidate Parfait. And you see that, and Spider-Man's like, Councilwoman, get down. You see Jackpot, Jackpot doesn't. Just the narration of I see the patterns. Jackpot doesn't. She's a rookie mistake. This was a rookie mistake. And then you see the eyes, the tears of Councilwoman Parfait of oh my, and he's like, get down, and doom. They don't show it, but it's just so impactful of what they do show, where it's they show Spidey kind of being upset. They just show her feet on the ground, no shoes, Jackpot running, and then they show it again, and you just see not a big one, but a little pile of blood starting to come. They never show the glider go into her. All they have to do is show her legs, her laying there, and a little pile of blood hits you right where it means. Now, yet again, they do kind of throw a little bit of comedy in there as Spider-Man looks at Menace, and Menace is like, this is your fault. This is he's like, this is all on you. Kind of a, hey, I'm a villain, but I didn't mean to do that. This is all on you. And then Spidey then ends it with, it's not, of course. We know who really deserves the blame, and it's him looking at Jackpot on her knees crying because of what she had done. Or not that she meant to do it by any means, but what her actions had done. That right there. We then see Spider-Man go to see her out of uniform. When it's just her, I say out of uniform, she's a cop. Well, it's they kind of are, because this is post-Civil War. So every superhero except for Spider-Man is registered. And if you're not, you're breaking the law. He goes to see her, and she's like, I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know. And he goes, oh, well, I'm sorry. So it's that's all we get. We never get any more from that. it's like that storyline is just like the storyline isn't dropped, but that part of it is. We then see later Peter Parker going to the councilwoman's funeral, taking pictures for the paper. That's another thing that I really did enjoy was the arc with J. Jonah Jameson, where Peter is the reason he has a heart attack. His wife then sells the Daily Bugle. That was great. That's one of the arcs that they do like go over like all of them, but that's only because like Peter still works at the Daily Bugle. They can do that over 19 issues. So like it was cool to see J. Jonah for the longest. They were lying to him, wouldn't let him see a paper. Then he sees it, and there's like the one point when he finds out, like Spider-Man tells him, it's like they show the heart monitor in the panels. It's like each panel, they just, if you're looking at the background, you see the heart rate go up and up and up until it's like really bad. So it's like, you know what? Okay, that's kind of cool that like he's just that. And like the whole thing of like, I get why the wife did it, but did she need to? They end up separating at one point, and that kind of like hits J. Jonah like, oh shit, I could lose everything because of this. You get that kind of a little bit because he also breaks his TV at that point. But yeah, like we never reach into that more. Menace, we don't reach into him after this at all. He shows up maybe like once more at the like the other mayoral candidates, because the father of the girl that Harry's dating then jumps into the mayoral race to take her spot. Like I said, there was a Mayan arc. So what I mean by the Mayan arc, this was issue, let's see, this was after the Freak stuff, which I'm going to get into Freak in a second. I actually liked Freak. That was kind of cool. It's kind of cool villain, a kind of a cool little arc, but you've got the Mayan stuff was like issue 555 to, what was it? It was 3 issues. So to 558, it was 555, 556, 557 were the 3. Yet again, cool 3-issue arc. I had no problem with it. It was a story that had Wolverine in it, Strange. It's like kind of snowing out of nowhere, and Doctor Strange like finds out that like, oh, like there's some weird things going on, and then like Spider-Man sees these guys that are dressed up as like Mayan killers, thinks they're the real reason that's wrong, that the scientist that they're chasing is the victim. Then when he's brought back to the police station, when Spider-Man goes out to literally fight this Mayan god, you find out that the scientist was trying to bring, with his scientific mathematics and like the symbols he was using, trying to bring this god here so he could fuse with it, and that the Mayan hunters that were trying to kill him were trying to stop him. They're actually the good guys kind of in this. So it was like kind of cool, little horror aspect to it. I'm like, you know what? Not a bad 3 arc thing. And like the kind of love interest, I'll say, of Peter Parker in this, Charlie, who works with the police. She's a like rookie forensic scientist. Like she's even captured. Like the guy's going to try to sacrifice her to this Mayan god. So Spider-Man has to save her. Like it was cool. Was it needed? Absolutely fucking not. But it was cool. Like this even interrupted the Freak story arc. Like the Freak thing started, they jammed this in, and it's like, okay, back to what we're doing. Freak, another interesting one, another new villain. I'll be honest, I liked his whole thing where it was like a junkie that got into Dr. Connor's stash, basically thinking that it was like heroin. It transforms him into this like freak with all these different like animal reptile DNAs. Every time something happened to him, like the first time, boom, cop shoots him in the head. He goes back into his cocoon state because he has caterpillar DNA in him. Well, when he pops out the next time, looks a little bit different, but now shooting him, you can't do that. It kind of was like a video game of like when you have those bosses, oh, I defeated you this way. You come back for round 2. I can't do that again. I got to find a different way to beat you because I already used that. That was kind of like this. He burned alive the second time. Well, then he went into his cocoon. He came out. Guess what? Now he can't be shot. Now he can't be burned to death. So it's like, cool. The only way to get him is to get the gel that Kurt Connors had ordered. Dr. Connors had ordered. And it was like, you know what? That's a cool villain. Like, that is a cool new villain. I actually saw that arc all the way to completion. So yet again, that was like, why do I have no complaints with that? I saw that arc all the way to completion. Did it have anything to do with Brand New Day? Not in the big scheme of things, but like, I saw it all the way to completion. Also, Paper Doll, another one I saw all the way to completion. She's a girl that was, all you hear is that she like got into her dad's like paper machine. Now she's like a flat piece of paper is kind of like what her body's like. And she's obsessed with this movie star. You also got the Peter Parker side of this, where Parker is working for he's still at the Daily Bugle, but he's a paparazzi photographer now. So you've got the kind of like give and take of like him and Harry's relationship kind of goes rocky here. You've got that like, yeah, I can get $2 million if I get a picture of this movie star and his love interest, but kind of the morality of it with Spider-Man. I'm like, is this who Peter wants to be? A cheap paparazzi, and you get like the people in his life kind of looking down on him because he's a paparazzi photographer now. You also get when he's actually like fighting Paper Doll at the movie star's house, you find out he's dating, the love interest is Mary Jane. So I'm like, okay, cool. I like that tie-in. But also, again, the thing I loved most about that is she goes to the safe room while Spider-Man's fighting him or fighting her. And you kind of get this little like, from what she says, let me pull up the exact quote from the graphic novel, because she kind of like makes it seem like, does MJ remember what happened before? Because it was her and Peter that made the deal with Mephisto. Does she remember it as well? Kind of a situation, because while she's in the panic room, she's talking to Spider-Man, and the exact thing is like the whole panel is like her looking at the TV screens, seeing Spider-Man and kind of like telling him what to do. It says, let me see right here. So close one. So the panic room, huh? You'd figure a bazillionaire like Carr would afford better speakers. This is Spider-Man talking, by the way. It's like I pulled up to Wendy's and then Mary Jane's like, hey, focus. Spider-Man goes, what? Do I want fries with that? She goes, always with the jokes. He goes, always. Do I know you? Who are you? And she says back, don't you read the papers? I'm Bobby Carr's mystery girlfriend. He goes, right. Should have seen that one coming. And she goes, huh. Then they finish the fight with Paper Doll. And it's what she says after that to Spider-Man. So they finish it. And then you get you should probably, like Mary Jane says to him, you should probably go. He goes, thanks for the heads up, mystery girl. In fact, thanks for all of them. We made a pretty good team. And Mary Jane says, yeah, maybe we did. And she touches the screen with 2 fingers on Spider-Man's face and says, in another life. That right there, that hit me. Of like, yeah, maybe we did in another life. It was just that little tease of like, because it was her and Peter that made the deal. Does she remember that they were married? Does she remember that Spider-Man is Peter Parker? Like there's so many questions from that I wanted looked into. And yet again, this is the big issue with this is the arc to the era, the Brand New Day arc that they ran with, that ran on top of the individual issues, was only the 19 issues from 545 to 564. 102 you count as the entire era. So like, yet again, at some point, am I going to read on with this, yes. We'll probably do volume 2, volume 3 at some point. I'm going to be honest, this is not a light read. So if you're looking to dive into this whole collection, it's not a light read. It is 19 issues. It is like, what's the exact, let me pull up my, my Comic Geeks really quick to kind of see how many pages that this is listed at. So let's see, the amount of pages is 520 pages. Yeah, you got some at the end that are like the extra stuff. So like maybe 500 if I'm rounding down, at least 500 pages of reading in this. So it's no light work to read 19 issues in like the snap of a finger. But also lastly, I'll touch on the Spider Tracer murder, where it's something where there was I even kind of forgot about how it started because of everything else that this 19 issues ran into. But there was a mugger that was using Spider-Man's mask. He died by someone else. They found a tracer on him because he had the tracer. It was put on him by one of the mob guys because they accidentally like popped it out and it landed on him. So like, then it's like, oh, cool. We found a tracer on his dead body. Spider-Man probably killed him. So there was this whole thing of like the cops being against Spider-Man and Spider-Man. Oh my God, did he kill these people? Not really. Like that was not even, a bow wasn't even put on it. It was kind of like just mentioned and then forgotten. Once we got into like Freak and the Mayan and the paper doll, it wasn't really mentioned at all, except for like maybe like Mary Jane saying, hey, you should get out of here. The cops are here kind of a thing. Or like it was mentioned as like a greater arc kind of thing. This is the only one that I can kind of give a like pass on. Cause it's like, okay, this is like sometimes you get greater arcs where it's like, hey, this story is going to last a couple issues or a couple hundred issues. So it's like, okay, I can give excuse to one storyline being like that, but they had 3. They had the Mr. Negative, the Jackpot, the Menace thing, the Spider Tracer murders. Like I said, the bookie thing at the end, completely useless. Give me 3, like take those 3 issues and give me 3 issues of Mr. Negative instead. Give me that storyline again. So the last thing I'll say here, last thing I wanted to kind of get into, because I'm going to do this quite a bit. There's going to be a couple things that we're reading this year that are going to coincide with movies that are coming out. For example, in September, we're going to be reading 2 issues from the new 52 Snyder Batman 2011, because the Clayface series is coming out. You've got in December, we're going to read Infamous Iron Man to kind of go along with Doomsday, because that's like when when Iron Man is Mr. Doom. So like that is like the tie-in there, even though it's probably not going to be exactly alike. And then, yeah, all the way. And I've got something planned for April and May, Legacy of Kylo Ren, doing something for May the 4th before and after that. So like there are going to be some tie-ins here of like when movies and stuff are coming out, reading some things about that. So it's like the last thing I kind of want to touch on is like, so the movie coming out in like a week and a half now, because I'm posting this on the 22nd, movie comes out the 31st. What's the MCU going to take from this comic? And we already see a little bit of it, right? We know that Mr. Negative is going to be in Brand New Day. We know that the whole thing of like, people don't remember Spider-Man's identity, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be honest, out of these 19 issues, I don't know if any of this is even going to make the movie. Like I think that the Jackpot stuff is going to be, take the Jackpot stuff. That's going to be the Jean Grey stuff, or what we think is the Jean Grey stuff with Sadie Sink playing Jean Grey. So like take the Jackpot, the Menace stuff. That'll be kind of put in there with the Jackpot storyline. So that's going to kind of replace that. But I don't know. Like they're not going to use the Spider Tracer murders. I don't know if we see, it'll be cool if like we see a little bit of like, oh, him fighting Freak for like a little bit. Oh, him fighting Paper. Like if they threw these in as references, I could see them doing that, but like they've got their own stuff. I think it's just Brand New Day to go off of the, like, just the main point of like, hey, Spider-Man in the comics, everyone knew his identity because of Civil War. Brand New Day happened. No one knows it. That I think is the only connection of why it's Brand New Day. Now, yet again, I have not read the whole 102 issues of the era. Someone who has, that doesn't want, like, I wouldn't spoil it for me, but I would just say, like, in the comments, if you think that they're going to mention something from what happened in the entire era, go ahead. But I don't think anything from these 19 issues is going to be in the movie. But last thing I'm going to do here is give you a rating. Every single one, I'm going to end with a rating. 1 of 5, sometimes 0. I think I've only given 1 0 ever, and it was Peep Show. So basically how I do it, and yet again, I'm going to try to the first few of these kind of map this out because you might be coming in at different times. How I do it is a 5. To get a 5, it's a must read, meaning I am basically telling everyone and their grandmother, no matter what, go ahead and read this. A 4, very solid. Doesn't have to be read by everyone, but very solid. I liked it, had a good time. 3 usually means, yes, I had some problems with it, but overall not a bad read. It's like kind of like yeah, it's good, but the amount of people I'm going to tell to read it, like this one, the people that I'm telling to read it are huge fans and diehards of Spider-Man. That's it. That is it. It's a very small list, and I'm saying, yes, go ahead and read this. You'll have a fantastic time. 2 usually means I'm not telling a lot of people to read it. I have a few minor major complaints with it. Number 1, I'm probably not telling anyone to read it. And 0 is just like should have never been made kind of a thing. So with me, this one, I think you guys can tell where I'm going with it. I'm giving it a 3. Did I have a fun time reading this? Absolutely. Every single, like the Mayan arc, there were good stuff in this. The Mr. Negative stuff was good. The Jackpot Menace stuff was good. The Freak story arc I liked. The Mayan arc I liked. The Paper Doll arc I liked. Were these good stories? Yes. However, my problems come from the organization of it, with the having a million people in the kitchen, having it where I have arcs that are not ever fleshed out ever again and get me enticed. And then, we're over here for a lot of issues to where, like I said, only like 3 of the arcs get bows on them, and the rest are just left to be open-ended, to where it's like, it's fine to have open-ended arcs sometimes when it makes sense. None of these seemed like senses to have open end, for maybe exception of the Spider Tracer plus the Bookie one. Completely useless. Completely useless. Didn't need to be there. Would have used something different. So like, that's the only reason why it's not a 4, is because of all those complaints. But like, it felt like to me, and this isn't a knock, even though it's going to kind of sound like a knock. It's kind of like when you're watching a TV show over like a 20 episode arc, and you're like, wow, that had a lot of filler in it. This had a lot of filler. The Freak, the Mayans, the Paper Doll, in the end, all that was just filler. It was just filler. And that's how I see it. It's not, doesn't mean those fillers were bad. The filler episodes could have been good, but yet again, I wanted more meat and potatoes from this. I wanted appetizer. I wanted my steaks, my main course. They gave me a lot of potato. They potatoed this up. Potatoed, sides, rice. That's what we ate, which yet again, eating those are good, but I'm coming for the steak. That's what I'm coming for. And I just wish this had a little bit more steak to it. But that is going to do it for this episode of A Graphic Conversation. What are we reading next? Well, in 2 weeks, or right now, Patreon page right down below, you can go ahead and listen to this now live. We are going to be diving into one of my favorite animes. Yes, mangas are going to be a part of a graphic conversation. We are diving into our first manga, which is a first of ever for a graphic conversation. I've never read a manga before for the podcast, and we are reading Full Metal Alchemist Volume 1. Alchemy, the mystical power to alter the natural world, something between magic, art, and science. When two brothers, Edward and Alphonse Elric, dabbled in this power that granted their dearest wish, one of them lost an arm and a leg, ... And the other one became nothing but a soul locked into a body of living steel. Now Edward is an agent of the government, a slave of the military alchemical complex, using his unique powers to obey orders, ... even to kill. Except his powers aren't unique. The world has been ravaged by the abuse of alchemy, and in pursuit of the ultimate alchemaic treasure, the philosopher's stone, their enemies are even more ruthless than they are ... So that's what we're reading next week. Full Metal Alchemist Volume 1. Again, go to the Patreon page if you want to see the full list of what we're reading as of right now. I got a couple of dates open, but pretty much got almost a full year planned out. I got especially everything for the rest of 2026 planned out, but that is going to do it for me today. Discord down below, Patreon down below. Hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you guys for checking this out. Usually don't expect them to be this long, but this was one where I knew it was going to be long because I had at the beginning, I wanted to get into like, this is our first one, kind of talking about the history of a graphic conversation. Plus I knew with this one that there was a lot I wanted to get into when it came to Spider-Man. Cause again, I kind of had some issues with this one, even though 3 out of 5, still a good read. Diehards and huge fans are going to love it if you're a huge fan or a diehard of Spider-Man. But that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys for everything. And as always, have a good day, everybody. We'd like to take the time to thank the people who make these videos possible, our patrons, whose names are listed on the screen now. If you'd like to become a patron, you can click the Patreon logo in the bottom right-hand corner. And if you'd like to check out another video from MVP Nerd, you can click the video in the upper left. As always, thanks for watching.